Today, I'm going to show you how to find your perfect sensitivity in under 8 minutes. Whether you play on a phone, tablet, with gyroscope or without it, and I bet you will, cause I played on both phone and iPad, with and without gyroscope, and I know what's the deal. And also, at the end of this video, I'm going to share my own sensitivity, so if you want it, make sure to watch it till the end. Since we don't have much time, I won't yap, I will eventually, but let's just waste no more time and get straight into the video. So like I said, we have two types of players, gyroscope users and non-gyro players. And these two groups have completely different sensitivities. And we'll start with no-gyro players. No-gyro players have two different sensitivities, camera and firing mode, and they have to have different sensitivities for each of them. First, let's start with camera sensitivity. In order to find the best camera sensitivity which suits you the best, first you gotta find out if it's too low or too high. So you'll hit the training ground and bring as many scopes as you can with yourself. Now you aim at a certain range which you play with a certain scope. For example, for red dots you should aim probably up to 15 meters. So you aim 15 meters away, and then you try to turn and aim on the other imaginary targets within that range. If your aim has these little bumps in it and it's not smooth, that means your sensitivity is high. Now if you have an old device and you can't actually tell if it's the FPS drop or the sensitivity, you gotta find out. And I really hope you get a better device soon. And on the opposite side, if you can't switch up between your imaginary targets easily and it takes 2 swipes on your screen, that means your sensitivity is low. Just try different sensitivities until you find a smooth, comfortable sensitivity, and keep that in mind. The camera sensitivity for no-gyro players is mostly used for micro adjustments. For example, when you're trying to shoot the bots or you're trying to shoot someone far away with a sniper or something. Now do the same with other scopes. After you did so, you'll move on to the firing sensitivity. Now before finding your firing sensitivity, again you have to find out if it's too high or too low. And for doing so, first you'll buy an average looking M4A1 with a 3.5 times the scope, cause that's the most average recoil in the game, right? Now put the movable target on the farthest place possible. Now you'll try to control the recoil up to 40 rounds, cause 30 and anything less is not enough and 60 is too much. So 40 is how a normal spray would look like. Now here's how you find out if it's too low or too high. If you run out of space on your screen before dumping your mag, that means your sensitivity is low. Now it has a whole different story for gyroscope players, so if you use it, just bear with me. And on the other hand, if you've dumped your mag but you still have plenty of space on your screen, that means your sensitivity is high, and it's probably not accurate enough. So all you have to do is to find the perfect balance where you shoot 40 rounds and you have just a little bit space left on your screen. Which means if you're playing on a tablet, you have to set your sensitivities lower than mobile players, cause you have a lot more space compared to them. Now after you found the balance, you'll have to do the same thing with all the other scopes as well. RIP the poor players, even though it's your own fault, you're not watching my videos, and if you do and you're so poor, I don't know. But you don't actually have to. So here's the difference between ArenaBreakout and all the other shooter games I've played. In other shooter games, when you put your red dot sensitivity on 50 for example, you have to put your 2 times the scope sensitivity on 45 or 40. But in ArenaBreakout, you don't have to. The devs already did that for you, so if you put your red dot sensitivity on 50, you can actually put all the other sensitivities on 50 as well, and it will equate it itself. That is cool. But if you're actually rich, just do it and double check. Now here comes the main question. Okay dude, let's say your method works and I found the perfect sensitivity for an average looking M4A1. But what about the other guns? What about FAL, MK14, since they have a lot more recoil compared to M4? Or what about the guns with less recoil like H4 and SCAR? You know what, that's actually a good question. It's a perfect question. Right, you found the perfect sensitivity for M4, but what about other guns? So the answer is, in order to find the perfect sensitivity, there's a few methods that you can follow. First, I'll give you all the methods and then I'll tell you which one is my favorite. First method, universal balance. To find the universal balance, first you have to have a high storage value because you have to buy a lot of weapons and a lot of scopes. Or even if you don't have a high storage value, why not sacrifice a few coins for the better sake? And also, you're not even sacrificing them, you'll still keep them. Now here's what you do. First you'll head to the market and buy the top 5 weapons that you play with the most, excluding snipers, cause the sensitivity on snipers is a whole nother story. After you did, you'll hit the training ground and you do the same thing that you did with the average M4 with all of those guns. Play with different scopes, reasonable scopes, cause obviously no one would spray with a 4 times scope on a FAL. Then you'll realize each of these guns have different perfect sensitivities. Then you'll do a quick math and find the average sensitivity between all of those outcomes, and boom, you have found your universal sensitivity. And like I said, you you have to exclude snipers for this method to work. Now the second method is finger placement. In this method, you will place your recoil controller finger on different parts of your screen based on the gun. If your gun has a higher recoil, you'll place your finger higher on the screen, and if it has a lower recoil, you'll place it lower. Now for this one, it's better to be used by tablet users, cause like I said, they have plenty of space to control recoil, and because of that, they can place their finger freely. And the third method is scope adjustment. In this method, you'll categorize weapons based on the scopes you use. Let's say we have 2x, 3x, and 3.5 times the scopes. Now what guns you use the 2 times the scope on? Probably FAL, MK, or even AEK. So you'll set a sensitivity for 2 times the scope, which can only control these guns. Now the 3 times, probably F2K, AEK, or maybe a modified MK. This method works perfectly for those who use snipers and automatic guns. And now what I do is a combination of all 3. Yes, it is possible. First, I found the universal sensitivity for the guns I use the most, MK14, FAL, and you know, the others. And I also do the finger placement technique. When I'm playing with FAL, MK, or AEK, I place my recoil controlling finger a bit closer to the middle of the screen to have more space to control the recoil, and when I'm playing with AR-57 or H4, I place my finger closer to the edges. Plus, I know what scopes I use on different guns. On the FAL, I only use 2 times on red dots. On AEK, I mostly use 3 times and 2 times, and on the MK, 3.5 and 2 times. See, it's a combination of all, and it works perfectly for me, and I'm pretty sure it will work perfectly for you too. And now, let's get to the other side of the story, the gyroscope users. Now, the gyroscope users mostly have to have the same sensitivity for camera and firing mode, but the only thing which makes the difference is the gyroscope itself. And about the gyroscope, just adapt. Adapt to the highest sensitivity possible. I know it might be hard at first, but hey, I'm telling you, after you get used to it, the aiming will be way easier for you. Maybe if you're playing on 100 gyroscope sensitivity, it might look impossible or unbearable at first, but hey, like I said, just adapt. And about the camera and firing sensitivity for gyroscope users, again, put it as high as you can, cause you already have the gyroscope for aiming and micro adjustments, and 90% of the times when you're trying to touch your screen, it's for flick shots or fast reactions, and your camera sensitivity obviously cannot be less than your gyroscope. That will look dumb. So put your gyroscope and camera sensitivity as high as you can and just adapt. And here's all the talk about the sensitivity, and now before I show my own sensitivity, let me have a quick talk. Copying other people's sensitivities is the dumbest thing a person can do. I mean, sure, you can get inspirations and have a look, but straight up copy pasting it is so dumb, cause like, come on, we're so different. We might have different devices, different reaction times, different grips, even different fingers, everything is so different. So you can have a look and get inspirations, but don't copy paste it. So here's my sensitivity, and if you want the details for my device, you can check this video later. And that was it for today's video. Thanks for watching it till the end. Make sure to subscribe and check out my tips and tricks playlist. There's a ton of these videos, and as always, love you all. See you in a bit.